Voices Radio.
I know you know that I want you. Yo te quiero pa' mí. Sé que sabes que te quiero. I want you for me. I know you know that I want you. Yo te quiero pa' mí. Sé que sabes que te quiero. I want you for me.
Quisiera que me dijera que me quieras de verdad, que no quisiera perderme por la malicia, lo demás. Eso me llenaría de alegría, seguridad que lo nuestro muy en serio y no amemos de verdad. Me gusta que seas celosa porque demuestra la verdad, que me quieres y me amas, por nuestro amor tú lucharás.
Yes, people, I'm now here with my guest. That was Mike Kedge, who's with me right now. Braden, produced by Morpheus, I Want You. But yes, here with the man himself. How we doing, bro?
Live, bro. Give thanks and praise for the invitation, my brother.
Yeah, man, yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a weird one. I was just thinking on the way up here. Like, I feel like I'm not going to give my age, but I've known you a lot of years, yeah. But when I think about how many times I've actually been in the same room with you, it's not that many.
Not that many, bro.
It's a weird one. I think it's just like a musician thing, like you just see each other releasing music and do shows, so you feel like, you know, you're keeping up with their life and whatnot, man. But yes, Mike Kedge, bro. I feel like you're one of the few names that, like, a guest I've had here. Obviously, my show's to promote UK Latin artists, and you're one of the few names that perhaps have crossed over to an extent, like, early on. Like, you've worked... Like, you've done a lot of work in the UK hip-hop scene.
Yeah.
Continue to do a lot of work in the Latin scene. And we'll get into, like, both things really, man. But first of all, how we doing, man? How's your day going?
Bro, live.
Yeah.
Give thanks, man, that I'm good.
Yes,
you
man.
know?
Nice. So we talked a little bit off air, man, just briefly, like, what we're working on at the moment, what we're focusing on before we get into the backstory.
Working on, well, I just dropped La Raza last year. It was an album that took around 5 to 6 years to create. Me and Morpheus, he produced the whole project.
Right.
I basically A&R'd the whole project, got all the artists involved. We had 20 artists, over 9 tracks. 18 of those artists are UK Latinos. The other 2 are based in Europe. We've got artists from Dominican Republic, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Mexican and French mixed. I met this guy on Facebook. I just see his sponsored post. He was rapping in French and Spanish. I messaged him. I was like, yo, if you're ever in London, hit me up. He's like, I'm in London next week. And we just connected naturally, organically. That's the whole project has just been an organic process and
but
growth.
why that project? Obviously, I know you and I kind of know your character in the sense of that you're very much at the front line of this movement. But why did you feel that you needed to create a project? Do you know what I mean? Because so many people would be like, oh, I'll just repost their tune and support them in that way or turn up to a show. But like, you took time out, you put energy, time, money, invited these people down to the studio. Like you said, it took a long period of time to make this project. So why create this project? Like, why did you feel it was needed?
The project was really a follow-up to my first album, Sudaka. The Sudaka album was just a solo project.
Big album.
Thanks,
that Colombia track, bro. When you weren't releasing music, like every time I had to play a Kedge tune, I was just rinsing that one on here,
Trust me, bro. And Morpheus again on the whole production, on the whole everything. And because that album was a solo project, we really had just 2 features, and both features were on the same song. So it was 12 tracks, and it was just 1 feature, really. So La Raza, I wanted to holler at artists that I'm a fan of and that I enjoy listening to, and that I believe can make a big change within this, can make an impact, you know, and just artists that are just consistent and, you know, dedicated to the growth and to the roots of music as well, and to the roots of our culture here in the UK, not just London. Like, you know, I've had the pleasure to be hosting and touring around the UK, and just to see how, you know, big the Latino community is outside of London. It's unreal. Like, there's a whole nother world that London Latinos have no idea exists.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get, because I know you've been traveling, man. But in terms of this project, right, and like, you had like people like Des the French on there. He obviously has accomplished a lot. Like, you know, she's killing it. I think she's like in Mexico at the now.
Yeah, she just did South by Southwest.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
She headlined Jazz Cafe last year.
Yeah.
She did a few. She debuted in New York this year as well. So, and she's in Mexico right now. working on new music.
Crazy. So you have her who's killing the game and obviously like doing her thing, and then I don't know, you might have someone like a Braden or like a Zems on the project, right? And like Zems, Like he's been, I don't think people know that he's been rapping since he was like 12, and he's always been hard. Like generally, like
it's always been hard.
Like because I'm always got my ear
He's
to the
in
ground, so I
Colombia
knew
right
about.
now.
He's out there right
He's
now.
right now. He's out there with my cousins.
Yeah,
So big up Zems right now.
His
'cause he's living
Instagram
life.
stories are entertaining, but
You lot follow
I'm
him
not
on
even
the
gonna get into that now.
Instagram.
I ain't gonna get into that now. But he's another one that's like super talented, but obviously he's coming from a different kind of side of life and different
Trust
ways.
me.
So did you find any challenges having all these people in the studio? Because people got different schedules, like. Or was it like any egos or you know they say sometimes don't meet your heroes, so it's like there's a lot of men that I like to listen to, yeah, and it hasn't happened to me yet, like in terms of our community, but it's happened to me in life where I've met them and it's like, yeah, you just ruined it for me, like you're not even that guy that I thought.
I hear you. Do you know what, bruv? I've had the pleasure that the majority of the artists that I've worked with, they've kind of like came into the game listening to me. So like I've just kept it humbled and just,
and I guess there was a level of respect there.
Yeah, they're already coming with.
Yeah,
they know they have to step correct when they come into the studio, because we're not here to play around and mess around. Like I let them know we can crack joke and we can do whatever we want to do, but when it comes to work, we're working, you know. And I don't play around with time, because time is money. And
yeah, I hear that.
You know what I'm saying? So
so obviously I've listened to the project. It's a well put together project. The production, excellent, man.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank
so
you,
I want to
brother.
play one of the tracks that are one of my favourites. And I think it's one of my favourites because it's different for you, because I'm used to like hearing you as like a proper hip hop head. Like every time I've probably seen you in life is like freestyling outside or outside a club or outside a venue. So to hear you on this like kind of like Dembo, Romantic Hell vibe. So this one is Ecstasy. SI Stature, who I had on the show earlier this year or last year. Big up at SI, he's doing his thing. Sashelis, who's my next guest actually next month. I think you got Ando on this one.
Yes.
And yeah, man, and Ando's got an amazing voice. He's someone that, like, if you're listening, bro, you need to, like, put in more work, because I don't think there's many vocalists like him in our scene. But yeah, man, this is Mike Kaje, Morpheus, Ecstasy.
Yes.
She loves me not.
Hey, shout out Smurf though, bro.
I love this.
You got my brother Smurf, SI Stature, Latino London. You already know.
Yes, people, that one was Ecstasy, man. You were just telling me off camera that was like based on a real life story.
It's a real.
Mad. I'm not going to ask about the details, but fair, man, fair.
Real life, innit?
Cool,
Ecstasy.
man. Now, obviously, my show is like this, like it's an hour long, and when I have a guest on, I'm trying to give them a bit of backstory, but I don't want to give them too much because I could probably sit down for a good 3 hours and talk. So I'm going to try and. Like,
I can tell them stories. I can tell them stories of when you were rocking the biggest Latin carnival in Europe.
Yeah, bro.
Flow Latino, Alvarez, Valencia's, known at the time as Flaco.
Yeah.
You rocking the stages, my guy.
Early
you know,
doors, man.
that was the same year
Early
we
doors.
did LeBron Brothers, Burgess Park.
Yeah, them early Carnaval de Pueblos were different, man.
Very early. Biggest outdoor Latino festival.
I know there's
in
other
Europe
festivals now,
at
but it's
the
not the
time,
same. You don't see them like they
Mad
were
thing.
back then. The energy was different.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I think there was fewer artists, so it was like more special, kind of thing. And it was more like, I'm not saying there's not unity now, but because there was fewer of us,
There
we
was a lot more
all much
unity.
more like, you get me? There was no like weirdness, man. But
No ego.
so touching on that, like back in the day and the good old days as it were, man. Like I said, I've always known you as like that battle rapper, that freestyler.
Yes,
but like, where does it start? Like, why the hip hop thing? Like, I when I talk my story and they say, but why do you rap the way you do? It's like
Because I can't sing. Yeah,
I say that.
I would have been a salsa singer. See, this is the whiskey drink now that's talking. Yeah, I would have been un salsero, papi.
Yeah.
I would have been a salsero because salsa's my first love, really.
Okay.
Really, my parents owned La Taberna, a taberna, like a Colombian bar.
Yeah.
You know Taberna,
Yeah,
innit? In Baker Street. So we used to have Paco de America, Gali Galiano, these big time singers from Colombia. These guys are like legends. So when they used to come to London to do shows, they used to come and perform at my parents' thing. Even footballers like Faustino Asprilla, Hamilton Rickard, when they played at Newcastle and Middlesbrough, they used to come.
was the
When
spot.
they played in London, they come to this spot. So I've always been around that music as well, and like Asprilla's a big salsero. So even from young, bro. And then
That
obviously
makes
my
a lot
older
of
brother's
sense.
a hip hop head. He's a vinyl collector. So I've always had that Latino hip hop, you know, like Elenita Vargas, rancheras, Julio Jaramillo, Hector Lavoe, La Fania, even tango music. That's why when you listen to my early music, like Street Souls, we got a lot of samples that we're using from those times. Vicente Fernandez and all of that, because we're trying to bring through that first generation of
kind of vibes.
for us, innit? We're the first generation Latino rappers in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Before us, there weren't many. There weren't any, really.
So would you say it's like full circle? And I'm going off subject a little bit, but because now you obviously like you host parties and travel the country, because you had that from like child being around that kind of bar nightlife environment. I guess like maybe subconsciously that's why you're so in your element now doing that kind of vibes.
Bro,
obviously you're doing it on mad scale.
We were 14 years old in Ministry of Sound hosting.
Mad.
Yeah, the security were opening the doors at 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. The promoters letting man in.
Yeah.
Taking man straight through the back to the stage, giving me the mic, bro. 14, because we, like you said earlier, I was outside nightclubs spitting.
Yeah, you was really out there.
They wouldn't let us into the clubs because we were underage, so we used to tell the bouncers, if I can make up the money to pay the door, will you let me in? They said yeah. So we just started line up, all the people lining up. It's just freestyle. Ba, £1 please. Make like 20, 25 pound, 30 pound. Throw that in, buy a Coke, because we weren't even drinking.
I think one story I vividly remember, when I was in Flow, big up Alvarez, big up Valenci's. I think it was around this time, like, but I'm talking about years ago, and we had a show, somewhere like Brixton, must have been Peckham. For those who don't know, I'm from Lewisham, so, and these times, like, I don't know, man, there's differences in life, but, and in areas.
Postcodes.
And then, I think on the way there, I nearly got robbed, like, so obviously, nothing happened, got done the show and that, come back out, but like a lot of adrenaline was in me, like just needed a moment, and then you were just like, nah, let's freestyle, and then you just were a bit relentless with it, just barring. It's like, no, now you go, Dan, and like, it was good because I kind of forgot about what happened. I was in the element, it was all good, man. But yeah, you were definitely really out there, and what I always respected about you is that like, and you don't really see that now in general, really, especially amongst rappers and lyricists, is that kind of perseverance and that art of like battle rap. And that core value of like what hip hop is and rap is. Yeah. A lot of artists that I meet, like they just want to be in it. They're sick at barring and that. Like they're proper good, but they're good in the studio. Yeah. Or they're sick on the stage, but like they're not dropped. Like I can't just bump into them at the.
They can't give you a quick 8 or a 16.
Yeah.
They gotta, like,
and that's rare for me because I'm from a place where even if you don't,
everyone
had a 16. Everyone had a 16.
You had to be ready.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I come from the school of you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready at all times. I've got a series on TikTok called Unexpected Bars. That when I'm around rappers, I just put the camera on top of it and I say, yo, unexpected bars, bar, give me a quick 16. Or give me an 8. Give me 4. Give me something. Or give me something. Like you say you're MC, come on. Like, so I put most of my brethren, they don't even like to be around me when I got my camera out because they know I'm just making them spit bars.
No. I've spoke to a couple man in the scene, and then when I say like, that brother's always on it, bruv. Yeah, save the freestyles for him, innit? Like, because I've not really, but it is what it is, man. Everyone's preference.
Come on.
This track was big, man, and we spoke about visuals, but this one deserves one, man. This is Yourself, produced by Morpheus yet again, Valenci's Don Jagger.
Big up my brother Don Jagger and Valenci's.
He just dropped a new album
with Rhyme Poetic. Big him up. I was meant to host that night, but I couldn't. I had prior engagements in Bristol.
Oh, so, fair enough, man. But yeah, they just had their launch party. I'm gonna try and have them on soon, man. But yes, this is Tamo Activos.
Tamo activo, 24/7 tamo activo, tamo activo, tamo activo, 24/7 tamo activo, 24/7 tamo activo.
Yes, people, we are back. Mike, just off camera there, you were telling me why you picked those artists.
Don Jagger and Mansa Bay. Big up Mansa Bay, Portuguese Angolan out in Leeds.
Leeds, you know.
And Valenci's representing, London, Colombiano. I wanted to highlight the Portuguese language on this song because it was very important that the Portuguese language be recognized with the Latino community because, in Brazil, they speak Portuguese. And when we think of Latin America, we don't really include Brazil only recently in the last couple of years because of Anita and some of the baile funk
and I feel like even some of those artists, they feel like they have to like not turn down like Brazilness, if that's even a word, but they feel like they've got to do certain things to mold into like traditional Latin countries. And also because it's an Afro Latino language as well, and it's very important for us to recognize our roots in our music, like that, how Africa inspired and is the inspiration behind our music, and a lot of our music, when you look at the reggaeton charts nowadays, it's a lot of watered down, so like, I was saying this on a podcast
respectfully like last year, Balvin, big artist. I love J Balvin, but he won the Afro Latino award.
That was mad,
which is to me,
I ain't claiming that one.
Man's a European brother. You get me?
Like that. Especially when you got people like Chucky Down in Colombia, like, do you know what I mean? Or any artist from La Costa in Colombia, like there's so many, like, or like What's the one from Panama? Cafu Banton.
No,
What do you want?
Japanese.
Rest in peace, Danger Man.
Rest in peace, Danger Man. Jeez.
But yeah, bro, I know my stuff. Like, I was on a podcast the other day, and I was breaking down the history of reggaeton, and like it came from Bobby Digital, Shabba Ranks. They made us called Dembo. If you even research what Dembo is,
exactly,
we wouldn't be calling that beat Dembo if you know what it is. Like, it wouldn't make sense. But it's not my. You're my guest. I'm not.
I hear you.
But yeah, I was going into one. But yeah, fair, man. So okay, we kind of briefly spoke about like the humble beginnings, why you got into it. So you've been doing your thing. How long have you been doing your thing, bro? Because I know like it's changed. Like you've done different projects. That's a good point, actually. So you had Sangre Latina, Street Souls. Bro, you've had quite a few collectives, so I can't even keep.
Yeah, Sangre Latina was from early doors. We're talking 2006, 2007 onwards, 2005 to 2014. No, 2012.
That's when you was on crud, bro. Some mad battle rapper. I remember you had a hook that said like Sangre Latina, toda la esquina, bro. Yeah, you were just Colombia, trying to take man's head off out here, bro.
Yeah, for real. And obviously Street Souls was a branch of that tree. Big up my brother Dogman, Cejota, CJ, you know, La Guerrera, people like SI Stature come through that faction as well with Skull and Kashmir Affairs. You had people like Lito, you know, Sleeper, ZP, Zona Protesta, you know, ZP Camilo, a lot of Santi, a lot of the brothers and sisters that come through the team.
You just said a lot of names,
you know,
that
Castro
like,
Blunts, you know, and even now like, it's not really a collective, but we've got Los 70 Gs. It's a little group, like a collective of just artists, videographers.
Okay.
El Gangsta, White Wolf, El Milo. You know, we all had the pleasure to host a cappella last year. You know, Mock, Mano Chico. You know what I mean? A lot of Venezuelans, Ecuadorians are up in there. So, yeah, man.
In terms of like I said earlier, like I kind of know your character. I know you're very supportive of artists, but you just named a few people. Then I'm not gonna get into their stories, but even like if you take away the music, you were kind of like helping them in the sense of like, because I know some of them man personally, so I know their situations and whatever, but you were giving them something positive, almost like a lifeline, because like, and you was really like helping them get into the studio. When we used to do
sorry to cut you, but when we used to do the studio sessions, or when I used to do the studio sessions, I never used to charge no one. I used to hire out the station for the whole day, studio for the whole day, and just ask the man them, just pull up. Man them wanted to drink, we got drink. You want to eat, we're going to feed you. You want to smoke, you're going to smoke. But pull up and work. And let's work. And don't worry about nothing else. Just worry about writing bars. You know, and we still do that. You know what I mean? And I do that with the next generation, the younger kids. We try to do workshops now. We try to teach the kids and try to show them like, you want to make beats? It's like, hook them up with Morpheus. Or hook them up for a day with certain producers. You want to be a DJ? I holler at my DJ friends that now where I'm touring, doing the reggaeton party, Latino Fest. I holler, I'm like, yo, got some kids that want to learn. Can you... How much you're going to charge me to do whoop, 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 you know what I mean? And we bust our little workshop. Could be online, could be in but we try to do something where we're giving back as well, because most importantly, that's why we do the thing, innit?
In terms of like, you touched on saying that like new artists and whatnot, and I know you work with a bunch of new artists and you still do. Who would you say is like, not like your favorite one, but say like top 3 that you feel like, you see these guys, they're really gonna be the future of this movement?
A young brother, very, very, very talented. Not a lot of people talk about him in the community. A young brother called Soto. Unbelievable, bruv. I've played him to a producer that was part of the Fanatics. Fanatics has worked with Nicki Minaj. Has worked with Popcorn. Has worked with big name artists. When I showed them Soto, they were like, yes. Braden, you know, White Wolf. These artists are because they've been able to create TikTok hits as well. You know, that have blown up on TikTok and crossed over and do the numbers as well. So they're learning. Like White Wolf was just in Spain last week, recorded an album. You know, with Heavy Fusion Records. Big up to my brothers in Heavy Fusion. So yeah, man, there's a lot of goodness in the community right now, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, big up White Wolf. I don't know him personally. I don't really know his music that well, but
bro, I'll connect you.
I see him like his work rate's healthy, so that always makes me like notice like because like big up the Latin scene this month, because again you smashed it with sending me music. Like you're busy, because there was a time where there wasn't that many music, but this month big up yourselves.
Big up.
But always when I like sometimes I can be really into like a certain artist, But if they're not putting in the work here, I won't like reach out to them. I won't, because I'm not like, it doesn't make sense for me really.
Yeah,
like,
of
do you know
course.
what I mean? So so that's interesting, man. Yeah. Well, talking about new artists, I'm playing a brand new one by Amber Donoso. This is Mami Tsunami.
Mami tsunami, me cuentan que preguntas por mí, que si tengo novio que me hace feliz, que si lo toco como te toca a ti, duramos horas, no te voy a fingir, se lo hago bien lento, le doy besitos.
Yes, people, that was Amber Donoso with Mami Tsunami. Me and Matt was getting caught up in the conversation and didn't realise that I had to be back on air, man. But yeah, so I kind of want to fit in the key facts in my show, man. So there's a lot I can talk about, but I'm going to control myself and move on. So one of the highlights, I'd say, like, in your career, and you can correct me, depending on how you look at highlights and how you measure success, but you always, like, when I have conversation with Latino creatives and musicians, they always say, you know, all it takes is just one to blow or one person to get that one track with a certain someone, and then it opens doors. And you actually managed to work with considerably, like, I think it's quite nice, because I'd say you're a pioneer in our scene, and you worked with arguably the pioneer of the UK black music scene, you know, the grime scene, and he's been involved in garage music, jungle. Sure. So yeah, man like Wiley,
Big Godfather.
Yeah, you making a song with him, because I remember having a conversation with someone who was like, yeah, that's actually mad. And like, because what's interesting is that when I was growing up, there was like two sides to like I guess my musical taste or even culture. Like, I was a grime kid, but also I was into reggaeton, but I never saw a day that those two worlds would collide. And you was early doors even with that, because I see Skepta's now got a tune with Balvin and whatnot.
Trust
but
me.
your tune is like before that. So yeah, I guess people will see that and check out the song. It's called Gosela.
Yeah.
But it is a very random story to someone who doesn't know you. So how did you manage to get in the studio with Wiley and create a record? Because this is straight after he's just done, what's the big hit he had? Bossy. He's just done Bossy.
Well, the same producer. Mucky done the beat for us.
You can kind of tell as well through the sound. So yeah, man, how did that come about?
Bro, he just called me up. Called me up one day. He's like, yo, Mike, I need you in the studio, bruv.
Yeah.
But I've known Wiley for around 10 years prior to that song coming out.
Okay, is that because you're like East London rooted?
It's because of Morpheus, really. Morpheus is Wiley's personal engineer and does most of his production. You know, does all of his, was working with him and doing all of his engineering work. But I've worked with Rico Dan from the Roll Deep. I've had the pleasure to sit in sessions of Chip, Getz, you know, so many different artists, bruv, like just to see Morph work. And I've been around Wiley for, like I said, 9-10 years. Crazy. In and out of the studio, Temper T, so many names, bruv. We could go through the whole, like, you know, we're East London, innit? Grimes East, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, Will's a good brother, man. He just hollered at me. He's like, yeah, I want you to jump on this tune. He showed me the tune. All I could hear was Bossy, if I'm honest. So I told him, if I'm gonna go away, I went away and I just let the ting meditate with the ting and came back and did Gosela. Because I just thought, because I was hearing Bossy.
Yeah, it's
and I was just like,
head,
it's got to be a word.
Yeah,
so I was like, Gosela. So I was like, fuck it. Sorry,
that's all good. That's all good.
But yeah, I just did Gosela and it worked, bro. And recorded that in like 10-15 minutes. Margs was in the studio.
And working with someone like Wiley, yeah, what did you learn from, or what didn't you learn, but what did you learn anything from the way he works?
Just watching him record verses is unreal, bruv. Just watching him work, watching how his mind works, bro. Just having the pleasure to sit in a session and see how Will's just constantly, this brother don't sleep.
Yeah.
This guy don't sleep. When you lot used to see him when he used to be active on Instagram and used to be posting so many videos. This guy does not sleep. He'll go from one studio to another studio to another studio to another studio, back to the studio, like
crazy.
Like, bruv, I don't know where he sleeps.
I think because he breathes that in it, and he has done for so long. That's kind of like all he knows.
Yeah.
Like, I've been listening to Wiley since like, I don't know, Page You Co Cartel,
yeah,
like
bro,
Champagne Dance, and
Top of the Pops.
Before like Roll Deep. That's before any people don't even probably know them songs. Yeah, Top of the Pop vibes with Rico Dan, Maxwell D, boy. But yeah, man, the song's a big song. Like, so after like having a release like that, I think there was a lot of, I'm not going to get into that, but I think there was a lot of things happening in his career at that time. So probably stopped the full fruition of... And
definitely. It's like, it was a bittersweet moment because the tune came at a great time, but at the wrong time.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But despite that, did you feel like the feedback, because obviously for a lot of people, like his fan base...
a lot of doors closed on me, bro.
Oh, for real?
Because I chose to stand with brother.
Okay.
Not even stand with him, I just...
But you weren't like saying, no, I'm against my man.
Yeah, no. Like, that's his opinion. Whether I agree or don't agree, that's his opinion. I cannot say that he's wrong for thinking how he wants to think. You know, I don't have to agree with it, but that's my own personal choice. And you know, each man to their own, man. Do what you got to do and say how you got to say it, and say it with chest, and make sure you follow through. And he did. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. I've seen him on a few podcasts recently. I think he's spoken to a lot of people and learned a lot of stuff.
And a lot of his shit was just like
frustration, man.
Do you know what it is, bruv? Where I was in the studio, I was present, hearing conversations of madness.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that a lot of people, that a lot of the public don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the way he chose to go about.
Yeah, I think the way he delivered it was a bit. Yeah.
People
and he's
were
like an animated character.
Yeah, but people were focusing on the madness, on the mad quotes, rather than
the actual story.
Checking the root of where the issue was coming from. But that's not my job to say anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but
big up my brother Wiley though.
Yeah, big up Wiley. Big up
Sarita Lorena, because she's on the tune Gossela as well.
Yeah,
she's a big boy Brazilian Latina out in Amsterdam, out in Holland.
Wow. Okay.
She's done some tunes with some big artist. She's doing a thing, man. Big up to Sarita Lorena, man. Good peoples.
Wicked, man. Well, this is Wiley Mike Kalle Gossela.
Ella la madura, a mí me encanta cómo mueve la cintura, rebótela, esto sin censura, a mí me gusta todas las maduras, gócela, ella me lo jura que solo conmigo goza.
Yes, people, Wiley, Mike Kalle Gossela. Yes, man. It was nice playing that song proper loud on the speakers, man. On. The production's mad on that.
Vibes.
You can tell the levels. So that song obviously is a little bit different to what you're known for. We literally just said this. And that kind of moves me on to the next thing I wanted to talk about. Like, you've kind of been, obviously you still do your music, still releasing projects, but I see you very busy hosting reggaeton parties, but they're not just like every Saturday at the same venue. Like, you're traveling the country, and that's interesting because I had Valenci's on the show. I think my first show I had Valenci, he was my first guest, but he just came off a show in like somewhere outside of like London, like somewhere considerably like far, and he was saying it was crazy that like the love he got, they actually know like reggaeton music, and then and some of them were Latino, some of them wasn't, but basically what you were saying earlier, like Latinos like also being in other places in the UK, and obviously like growing up in London, like just being from London, like you can be so London centric that you think London's the only place in the universe.
I used to think that.
So how did you come about like meeting, because I don't even know the people that you worked with on that event.
Bruv,
like,
it's mad. I was hosting La Bomba.
Okay.
So this goes back to when I was doing things at 14.
Yeah,
15, 16. And then years later, I've come back to host La Bomba through Jose Luis, Candela Records, and all of them brothers. They used to do the Latino Festival, which is now Latino Life in the Park, which is in Finsbury Park. But prior to that, it used to be in Crouch End, outside the town centre.
I think I remember.
So I used to host those events. Those were events I was just hosting because they just needed a host, and I was like, I'll do it. I'm a rapper. How hard can hosting be? And I just fell in love with hosting. Then I went on to do La Bomba. La Bomba was kind of dying out, and like it was like more of a pass of the baton. The reggaeton party, big up to Adrian and Sai. Those are the two brothers that run that reggaeton party and Latino Fest. Big up to the DJs Andres Zambrano, Pedro Suave, Coco Mancia. Big up
Pedro,
to DJ
man.
Luis. Although he ain't a DJ, but I call him DJ anyway. But yeah, man, and like, bro, those guys gave me the opportunity to go to Glasgow, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Bristol, Bournemouth, Bristol, where else, man? Liverpool, Leeds. Manchester, Leeds, Oxford. I'm going Oxford on the 15th, and then Bristol again on the 21st, and then we've got Southampton this Friday. Like it's every weekend and it's a different city, bro. Whether it be me or the other mandem of the team, but we're constantly representing every single weekend. We go Dublin, Estonia. You know what I mean? Bro. So like it's mad where, bro, and the amount of Latinos that I'm seeing, Mexicanos, Colombianos, Dominicans, Venezuelans, Españoles, even people that are not Latin. You know, Polish, Czech Republic, Slovakian, Hungarian,
what city
everything.
would you say is like the most like hype for this reggaeton culture and this music?
Birmingham, Bristol. Birmingham and Bristol.
Do you know why Bristol would be?
London's dead. Let me
Bristol
just say,
would be,
London is dead. I gotta say it, bruv, because we're in London, but London is whack.
We're stush, man, because we're small for choice.
Exactly. But Bristol and Birmingham, Whee!
Yeah,
different
man.
levels, you know.
You know why Bristol's so big on that? Yeah, when you deep it, like, 'cause Bristol are massive on reggae music.
Yeah.
Because I'm into a lot of reggae bands. Yeah, like say like the Skints, for example. I just saw them recently at Roundhouse. Like, whenever they do their touring, you always think, oh, they're going to have a few dates in London. No, but Bristol, they'll have like 4 dates sold out. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know, I need to dig into it more, but I know there's a lot of, like, obviously the community there, like, huge Afro-Caribbean community, but also,
big.
like, sound
Big up
system
to St.
culture
Paul's.
is like, yeah, big up St. Paul's. I had a manager from there, but that's a totally different story for a long time. But yeah, and the reason why I kind of wanted to give it full circle with that one, and I really want to play this song before we're out, and we've got time for 1 or 2 more, but on this record, you talk about how, like, it's an unreleased record, Just Blaze Freestyle.
Yeah.
And you have a bar in there, I don't know the bar by heart, but you kind of talk about how, like, hosting parties, you feel, like, more accepted and more at home.
Yeah.
And for me, when I heard that, I had to, like, wheel it back and check again, because, like I said, I know you as, like, a hip-hop head, like, that's your element, that's your zone, so... Yeah, how do you now feel more comfortable doing that? Obviously, in this interview, I've kind of found that, okay, you had kind of beginnings in this hosting thing.
Yeah.
But, like... Yeah, I thought that really stood out to me in terms of that.
It's just the love, bro. The love, interacting with the crowd, interacting with people, bro. Getting to speak to the crowd at the end of a night, seeing the impact you've had, getting messages from people days later saying that they've been going through some mental health, or they've been going through, they lost someone in something bad or something unbelievable's happened to them, and they said that our energy on that night allow them to escape their reality, even if it be just for 2-3 hours. They could just be free from whatever was bugging them. They left their issues at the door and just got to enjoy themselves and just have fun, and just live life for those couple hours stress free.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I hear that, man. I think it's an important thing that music kind of offers that escapism. I was on a podcast the other day and he asked me, you know, what's success to you? I said a lot of things, but the main thing I said is, like, if for 45 minutes I can make someone forget their problems, like, my job's done. I don't really need that much else. You get me?
Bigger. That's a much more better feeling than any money.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly that. Well, Gadget, this is Just Blaze Freestyle. Exclusive rhythms. Mike Kadja, Just Blaze. I want to guess.
They got Morpheus again on the production.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, so Morpheus on the production. Because if I said that and I was wrong, it would look mad. But yes, Mike Kadja, Just Blaze Freestyle, Morpheus on production.
Phrase my mom used to tell me, G, never really got it till I grew up. Started looking around and felt stuck. Energy is energy, and that's the truth. They've been draining all the juice from the roots, abusing our grassroots. I fell back though. They said I slapped, yo. I'm on the reggaeton stage getting crunk, yo. Many say I left hip-hop to get drunk. I just moved to a spot where I felt love, and it's genuine. Feel my adrenaline on the mic, I'm excelling in bringing you vibes. To be real, I don't have to be Mexican. No Dr. Green Farm, but for sure I have the medicine. Who wants to mess with him? I've been blessed to win, salute my regiment. Many of them wanna get to where he's been, I know where I'm going. Pumping my Geronimo with Natural, I'm heading home. Lock, stock and 2 smoking barrels. Welcome to the Reino Unido, where certain guns will flip the script just to get a lift. I'd rather flip, reload, guarantee we don't miss. That's the difference. We cut from a cloth with real resistance. My distinctions.
Yes, people, Mike Kadja, Just Blaze Freestyle. Mike, I knew this was going to be one of them ones where it's not enough time, bro. But Mike, pleasure, man. And any last few words?
Yeah, big up to Morph, big up to yourself, big up to People's Voices. Ya tú sabes, mi gente, representando la cultura 100%. Siempre vamos a estar acá representando. Y tú sabes lo que necesite. At Mike Calle _ representando puro.
Come on, boy. You can tell this guy's done this many a times. Like, fluent with a sign-off. I've been your host, DKL. This is the Club of Vibes Voices. Big up yourselves. We're going out with this one. Don Jagger, Poetic, Money Money.
Pulso tá congelado, yeah. Damas e views, I'm high. Bros aqui do meu lado, yeah. Minha vida tá boa, disse eu não duvides. Não és tu que decides, por mais que critiques. Podem falar à toa, sou a mesma pessoa. Doa quem doer, nossa vitória é sucesso.